school. So any names that you might see, student or staff, are all completely fake. Don't worry about any GDPR issues. And it is also an English school. Not that it will bother for today's webinar in terms of, you know, the curriculum that you follow. Some bits might be slightly different, but I will point out those areas if you're joining me today from outside of England. Okay, I think that's everything. We head into educationcity.com. And here we are on the homepage. Now, I'm actually going to veer away from this to start off with, and I'm going to go onto Education City's website. So www.educationcity.com. And the first thing I want to show you is the free resources that we have on offer. So you see their online activities and downloadables. If I click into the downloadables, what we've done is we put together a couple of pieces for the summer holidays. So these are sort of things, you know, summer skills filler. These are kind of those skills that children can, you know, build upon, they can fill them. And if we open that one up, just so you can see what this looks like, here it is just here, summer skills filler resource pack. And it's got a bit of information there for parents. So this is what it looks like when their children log in. The great thing about this is that you can save this as a PDF and then email it out to parents, and it's got that sort of information on there so they know sort of how to navigate their child's homepage. The other bits they've got, if we move further down, we've got our games. Don't be guilty about using games, particularly when it comes to the end of the academic year. If you've got like a week to go, use our games, keep them engaged. They're fun, they're engaging, they're educational still. You know, people forget sometimes, but all Education City games are still educational. Obviously, you've got the Play Live, which is a little bit more competitive, but we do have like our whack-a-mole games as well. Sort of couple of examples just here. So do have a look at those. And like I said, you know, don't feel guilty about using games towards the end of the academic year because they are all educational. They do still fulfill objectives. I've also popped down there a couple of ideas or suggestions for our new topic tools. So you can see there are wheel tools. Great as well, you know, you can send that home. Parents can obviously have a look at that if they want to practice CVCC words. You know, segmenting and blending, you've got an idea there for it. But even down to those key skills like telling the time and multiplication tables, you know, you've got the resources in there for them to use throughout the summer. Again, Education City is 24/7, you know, use 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So make the most of it. Why not? There you go. So couple of ideas down there for projects and investigations as well. Anybody who's seen previous webinars that I've done, I love a good project. I really do. I do think it's such a fantastic way for children to show their individuality, and you know, they can independently research a particular area. So there's a couple of suggestions there for you. But even down to, you know, asking them to write about their favorite day over the summer, or creating a superhero of their choice, and you know, doing research about that superhero and what clothes it wears, you know, anything like that. You can do that. One of my favorite projects I used to do with my students was look at what sporting event was happening that year. We've obviously, you know, got a bit of a big sporting event coming up, or going on at the moment, even in terms of the international football. Get them to choose a football team. Doesn't have to be England. In fact, you can ban England or Scotland or Wales, ban the UK teams, get them to choose a different team from a different country and do a project about that team. So things like, you know, the country that they come from, the population, any kind of statues or, you know, national treasures that are there, any famous people that come from there, even down to creating a new kit for that football team. So, you know, loads of ideas there, but do have a look at those resources. Just to remind you, those are on our website, www.educationcity.com. Free resources, downloadables, And you'll also find down there our 30-day activity challenge, as well as our literacy worksheets and a great nature scavenger hunt. So do have a look at those. Right, back on the homepage, I'm just going to check really quickly if we've got any questions, guys. None that I can see, but if you've got any, do keep them coming. Gonna start off with our users, manage users. Here we go. Now, just a quick reminder as well, obviously users will need updating for the new academic year. We do have a guide to help you do that. Again, check out our web page. There's a guide in there that will help in terms of uploading users for the new academic year. But you can always get in touch with us if you want a little bit of advice about that as well. The one bit I want to take you over to is the grouping function at the end just here. As you already know, you can create as many or as few groups as you wish to throughout the academic year. And so when it comes to around now, it's a good time to spring clean. So you can work through, you can find any groups you've created, particularly like focus groups. You can select those and head over to actions and delete them. So you can sort of update that information as you're going through. When it comes to groups such as maybe house groups, maybe that's applicable throughout the whole school, you can leave them be. You don't have to delete them if you don't wish to. And remember, you can always edit who's in the group as well. And in terms of ability groups, you might want to leave those for the next year's teacher. They can have a look at those and they can kind of sort of, head into Ravenclaw. Okay, these are my higher ability students, maybe a couple of gifted and talented students in there. And they can obviously then update who's in that group, edit the name, whatever they need to do, you've got that there. So yeah, always good to have a bit of a spring clean, but just think if the next teacher's going to use it, then leave it in there and then you can always delete it afterwards. Talking about having a spring clean back on the homepage. Remember, you can do the same thing with your My City folders. Now, folders of work that you've got that maybe you wish to use for the next academic year, such as World War II lesson, a unit plan just there. I've got a Fairy Tales unit plan. I might want to save these, so you don't have to delete things if you don't wish to. But again, ones that you do, select the box next to it just there. Just going to select a couple of these guys. There we go. Head up to the top, actions, and delete. And again, you can really sort of start to have a bit of a clear out ready for the new academic year. Don't forget as well, because these My Cities are accessible throughout the summer, you can also put together a bit of a summer learning folder for students to complete. You see, I've got a couple of bits and bobs in there for students to do. Things like, telling the time or looking at the weather. Don't know about you, but it's been a very strange day in terms of weather today. But you can always pop together a bit of a folder for them to kind of dip in and out of throughout the summer when it's a bit of a miserable day. Take them off the iPad or the tablet or the Xbox or whatever it is that they play with nowadays. And they've got that there. And again, pop a few of our games in. It's fun. It's still educational. Children are still engaged. Back on the homepage, guys, I'm just going to pause for a moment. Make sure we've got no questions I'm missing. Just chatting the chat box there. No questions at the moment, guys. Again, any questions at all, do let me know. Now, we talked about tidying the groups. We talked about tidying up the My Cities. One thing that you don't necessarily have to tidy up, but you may wish to use at the end of the academic year, is our success tracker. Now, the benefit of our success tracker is that you can look for the information or the results of any assessments and activities that students have completed over the academic year. I've just selected a random date just there. And we've got this information now. So this is everything they've done in year 3. And this is great information. You can pass it on to SLT, you can pass it on to your data coordinator in your school, whoever's going to need this information. We can obviously filter down via surname, register order if you want to, and we can edit these columns. So if SLT, whoever it is, just needs the surname, maybe they want the subject and whether it's an assessment or an activity, but they're not really fussed about how it was accessed, the class name, the year group, because I'm telling them it's all for year 3. But what you might want to look at is the date of birth and gender. If you're wanting to look at sort of those comparisons between boys and girls in literacy, numeracy, or English and maths, or even sort of the youngest in the year group to the oldest in the year group, you've got that option there as well. The other ones I would suggest would be the curriculum objectives. So any activities will tell you the curriculum objectives that have been met, the questions available and questions attempted. But do have a look at these. If I click on OK now, you've got that information there. Any objective that has been met. And remember, you can export this data as well. You can export this to an Excel spreadsheet, and obviously then they can do what they will with it. They can make charts, graphs, grids, whatever they need to do, but you can do that. And obviously this is really valuable as well, because it means that you can pass this on to their next academic year's teacher. But remember, if users are updated via the CSV and repasted with that unique ID staying the same, this does mean that next year's teacher will have access to all of this information as well. While we're here, let me show you really quickly the fact that you can look for a class, a group, and an individual. So we can look here, let's look for Henry. There he is just there, update that information. And we can look for what Henry's been doing in English, maths, and science. Again, we can filter those down just there. We can look at assessments, we can look at activities, those results, as well as looking at his score just here. This is really great because if you have any parents' meetings at the very end of the academic year, you can obviously share this with parents, but it also means that you can export this data for a single student and compile the information in that sense. So again, if you've got any students out who are gifted and talented, or SEND, or any particular students that maybe if you are a subject coordinator, maths coordinator, English coordinator, and you want to look for specific students, this is really, really handy. Don't forget as well, any assessments, you can click into those and you can look at the answers students gave just there as well as being able to look at the revision journal that they got, as well as and the certificates just there. And obviously activities, you can do the same and you can print them off a certificate. But let's say we want Henry to get 80% or above, we could always add this tool to My City and ask him to have another go. That is just about it for me for today, guys. Just to show you really quickly as well, children are going to be using technology. They're going to be using EdTech throughout the summer and into the next academic year. One thing we do know at EducationCity is if they're using EducationCity online, we want to make sure that they are safe. So we do have our online safety bundle just here. You can see at the bottom of the page just here. This is filled with resources talking about staying safe online, sharing details with people, cyberbullying, the importance of reliable sources, things like that. And you can see that split into 5 to 8 just there, and 9 to 11, the older ones. Again, looking at things like online gaming, making sure that they are staying safe online just there. Down there as well, we do also have access to our times table and phonics bundles, so you can access those quickly. And that Play Live game that we talked about earlier. Not just the Play Live, the whack-a-mole games are also educational and a lot of fun. So do have a look at those for throughout the summer, as well as for the last couple of days in school. There we go. I'm just having a quick look again, see if we've got any questions. Whilst you are doing that, guys, just to give you a bit of information, quite exciting news. If your school uses Marvelous Me to support engagement, you can now issue Education City badges. So if children have dipped in and out of that folder of work that you've given them over the summer holiday, you can always issue them with an Education City badge through Marvelous Me. I think that's quite exciting. If I'm honest with you, I'm quite excited to have a look at that. Just having a quick look again, guys. We've not got any questions. Not to worry. I know you're all extremely busy. If you think of anything later on, you can always get in touch with us. Our email address is customerservice@educationcity.com. Below that, we've got our website there again. I told you about our downloadables. And remember, you can also look at previous webinars and sign up for new webinars there as well. Just to show you very quickly, previous webinars and upcoming webinars are there as well. I hope to see you soon. If I don't see you before, have a wonderful summer. Try to have a bit of a rest. And I look forward to speaking with you all in the new academic year. Take care. Stay safe. Bye-bye.